discussion is on investigation on bivariate measurement data. It's follows from the PPDAC cycle. The problem and plan stage is the first thing, so we need to discuss about problem and plan. If you look at the flow chart, it shows the naming of the source is a very important thing, identifying the variables, and we got to be familiar with horizontal and vertical variable, which we call explanatory and response variable. For some reason, the students prefer to call it independent and dependent variables, but the other naming is much better for your report. Question and purpose has to be very clear. If you want to get excellence, you got to start working at this stage. Referencing and research is the most vital part of your report. Students think it is secondary. That's not true. It's the primary consideration when you are writing the report. There goes an animation showing how to do the research. It's pretty basic. It's on Google Doc. You got to select tools and then select research. Once you get into the research, you got to go for the search and got to select the site, CIT site, and that gives you automatically, it sets the research link. You can maintain this Google Doc throughout your assessment cycle. Now let's move into the data using Insight. First of all, you have to bring in the data, which is pretty straightforward. You have done that with other report writing. Today I want to show you the data with the child smokers. The variables are quite limited. In your real assessment, the variables are going to be quite a few, so that will be quite confusing. You got to get familiar with that sort of situation. Once you have imported data, the first thing you would like to explore the possibilities, and for that matter, what I recommend, suggest you select all the variables and you look at the matrix, which gives you some idea which one will be appropriate graph. Once you have selected the pair of variables, you got to go for selection of variables. For a scatter, you got to be very careful about the response and explanatory variables. If you do it incorrectly, then you got to later on you got to fix that problem. Here you can see in the first instance I haven't done it properly, so I got to modify that later on, because I think height should be the explanatory variable and the FEV liters should be the response variable. Once you have the graph, you got to plot the trend line, and you must select the linear trend line initially for your initial investigation. Do not jump into other sort of models. Also, you got to notice what is the equation over there. So the equation is a very important thing. R value you got to note down. This one, this particular slide, I'm trying to fix my problem with swapping of the variables so that I have the right kind of variable on the right axis. I have to emphasize repeatedly, your eyes is the most powerful element in this report writing, and your eyes see it all. You got to remember that. If you forget and if you jump into the mathematical formulation and discussion, that will be one of the weaknesses of your report. So you got to be careful. Well, your eyes see it all. So you got to monitor everything, analyze the data based on your visual reference first. So you got to look at the grouping, scatter, unusual thing, direction, trend, and strength. And once again, I'm emphasizing it's quite important what you can see. Discussion on R, the correlation coefficient, comes later. It's the secondary thing. So when you are talking about, you are giving the evidence of strength, your eyes takes the priority over anything else. Right, so once again, and that's it. I'll stop there, and later on I'll come back with further discussion.